Good day, good afternoon, actually. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Centers, America's #1 dispatcher and freight broker training. Today is Saturday, the 15th of March, 2025. This is our last day of the second week of our live Zoom calls, our dispatcher one-on-one training for beginners. Um, we here did an exercise this past Wednesday. Now I'm going to do another one because you guys are talking about doing it again so you can get a better understanding of, I believe it was route planning. We were doing some route planning and we'll do another exercise with it. And we'll probably choose a different equipment type. So that way you'll get to see um, it with a different equipment type. We did it with a dry van, but this time we can do it with a um, either a flatbed or a reefer. We'll choose the location, we'll choose the area of the country, things like that. So let's get started on that. I won't hold you guys too long today. Okay, Jackie's iPhone Wise line is at work. This is recorded, so it'll be beneficial for them to check the recording. Okay. All right. So in the portal, let me go into tools and resources and let's go to trend lines real quick. Take a look at certain areas before we decide an equipment type um to do a route plan for. Let's choose last time we did the dry van. So let's see about a flatbed or a reefer. Where are flatbeds and reefers popular at? So let's go to the flatbed rates right now, spot market. And can you guys see my screen? Am I sharing the screen with the um, trend lines analytics from DAT?
Yes.
Okay, so for flatbeds, the cents per mile, the highest one is in the Midwest at 264 per mile, and also in the Southeast at 258 a mile. So if we're gonna choose a flatbed as a category of as the equipment type to do our route planning in, we wanted to make sure we want to send it into an area where we can get some freight out of. So if I choose a flatbed, I'll say, okay, well, let's run it from, and let's do this also. Let's go to 123 load board and open that up. And let's look at the market rate for a second. Let's look at the market rates. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Let's scroll down here on the side and market rates. We've chosen a flatbed as a category. So remember the last time we had an exercise where we said, okay, does it pay more for a specific equipment type going from north to south as opposed to south to north or east to west as opposed to west to east? So let's look at that again for the flatbed. Let's review that before we do a route plan so we'll know where to route our carrier if it's a flatbed carrier, right? So this can kind of be a way um, that you can do that. So let's say you got a flatbed carrier, you want a route planner. Well, you ask yourself, well, what's profitable? What's more profitable, and in what direction for my carrier? So with the flatbed, let's start with north to south. Let's choose a north. Let's say Detroit down to Jacksonville, a typical, just to get an idea. Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, so from northbound going from north going southbound for a flatbed, it averages 2680, almost 2700. If we flip that from Jacksonville northbound, let's see how much it pays. So it's less. Okay. So for a flatbed, it's better to have them coming north going southbound for starters. Now let's try east to west versus west to east. Let's say New York, and let's say somewhere out west. Let's just say Los Angeles. Let's say all the way. I just want to get an idea. So from the East Coast going westbound for a flatbed, it is paying 55.35. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then if we flip that going west eastbound, it's 54. So it's a little bit, slightly a little bit more going east westbound. So if we're going to route plan for a flatbed, probably I would probably have them coming somewhere out of a northern area of the country in the Midwest going either southbound. So that's the reason why I did it. I just wanted to decide which way, which directional dispatching that the route planning is going to be based off of. So I think we got our answer. I think it's north southbound. So let's go to our load planner. We call it not route planner, but load planner because it's loads. And so when we were here Wednesday, what was the first thing that we did? We had to create that truck, right? At the top here. You guys remember that exercise when we first started? So right now it has we got a Charles van at 6.0. We got to create a new one. So let's create a new one. Let's add a truck and the equipment type flatbed. That's the exercise for today, the flatbed. Um, the miles per gallon, we'll keep it the same as a van. It pretty much is 6.0, right? So you guys understand what we mean by miles per gallon, how much miles per gallon to the truck that it can get, so many miles per each gallon, and there's so many gallons in the trucks, so you can get so many miles. Let's say you got a 100 gallon, let's say you got a 100 gallon tank and you get 6 miles to the gallon. So that means you go 600 miles before you have to fill up. You guys understand that? 6 times 100, 600 miles, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll enter the truck name. We'll say, well, let me pick on somebody. Because last time it was, I think it was Resilient that we did the dispatching.
Yeah.
I just do it myself. CJ Flatbed. There we go. And I'll save it. All right. So now it changed. CJ Flatbed, 6 miles to the gallon. So you got a 100 gallon tank. Let's say you got two 50 gallon tanks on either side of the tractor. So you fill those up. So you got 100 gallons of fuel of diesel in your tanks. Your diesels get 6 miles per gallon. So if you got 100 gallons, you multiply 6 times 100, you'll get 600 miles before you have to fuel up. That's how the drivers know when they got to fuel up and what they got to do. They can drive so far. Okay. So now we're in the search details tab. You have a search result tab and you have a my planner tab. Well, these will not populate until we are finished with our details, right? So where is where is your truck located? Well, let's say we're going to go north south, right? We're going to say Detroit, origin point, Detroit, Michigan. And let's say it wants to leave out, well, this is the weekend. Let's say Monday. Let's start something fresh Monday at 0800 just to, start a fresh week, right? It's more of a challenge getting loads on the weekend. You're going to discover that too as dispatchers. It's more challenging getting loads on the weekend than it is during the week. Okay. For I would say 75% of the time. Okay. Um, so where's the truck located? Well, it's somewhere in Detroit, Michigan. That's the origin point. And it wants to go southbound. We saying anywhere. If I say anywhere, then I got to look at this map and see what states I want to service that are southbound. So I'm going to unselect everything, which is what I just did there. Unselect, I can either select all or unselect it all. Okay. And then I can click the southbound states to highlight because I check going anywhere, or you can say I go anywhere or a particular city, state, or zip code. Well, in my carrier's profile, the flatbed carrier said they'll go anywhere out of Detroit as long as it's paying well and as long as I'm going southbound to anywhere southbound or southbound states and to make money because they know that it pays more going from north southbound. Okay. So let's click the what are some southbound states? Well, Virginia, that's in the southeast, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, which is kind of reluctant, but Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Kentucky is more Midwest. I will not do that one. Alabama and Mississippi. We'll just stick with those right there, just to kind of get an idea. Coming out of Detroit, going southbound, right? Are we cool with that? If we're cool with that, I will save that profile. Is anyone else want to select a different another southbound state? Or we cool with what we have?
That's fine.
That's
So,
good.
alrighty. So we'll save it to the profile under CJ's flatbed profile. So whenever you open up CJ's flatbed profile, you have these saves as default. Now, when you change something and then resave it, it'll overwrite what you had previously, right? Just like a Word document. When you save something you over the old one, it overwrites it. So now in this box here, so we're out of this box. We got the origin and destination. We selected our states. Now we got to do the other information here. Remember, 123 load boards, load planner feature only does full truckloads, TL. It does not do partials, right? Partial LTL is not available. What's the maximum length of the trailer? Include loads that don't have the lengths listed. Well, I'm going to put 53. Whether they're listed by the broker or not, I want a 53 because I can always ask the broker for those that a broker may post something but doesn't put the length of the trailer. Well, the way to find out is basically ask. What's the length of the trailer, Mr. Broker? It's not hard, right? Just ask him or her. Um, what is the maximum weight? Include loads without the weight listed. That's what this means. So my carrier, flatbed carrier, has a 53-foot flatbed trailer. The maximum weight is up to obviously the max for a flatbed is. Well, let me ask you guys, what's the maximum that you can get on that trailer for a 53-foot flatbed?
Wasn't it 80,000 pounds, something like that?
So the so the
40, 40?
okay, are you sure? That's your final answer?
Yeah, 40.
Okay, so that's incorrect. That's not, it's almost there, but it's not. So the 80,000, I'll give you a hint. The 80,000 is what's called the GVWR, the gross vehicle weight rating. That includes the truck and a loaded trailer that can get up to 80,000 pounds. But the trailer alone for a flatbed, um, 46 to 48. Very good, resilient. So
Oh, okay.
46 to 48. So the maximum is 48,000 pounds. So let's say your guy says, I want 40. I'll deal with 48. If it pays, I'll take a load that's 48,000 pounds if the rate can substantiate me picking it up, going to get the load. That's what they would say. That's what a carrier would say. Okay. So now, next, maximum posting age. We're gonna say any because we want all possibilities. If you say within the last 30 minutes, then you're only going to get loads that are going to pop in within that 30-minute time frame. You're not going to get the older loads like from an hour ago, 2 hours ago, or whatever. Right? The reason why you want any because the 8 hour loads that gives you leverage because it's been sitting up there so long. You can leverage that and say, well, your load's been sitting up there long. It needs to go. So I'm going to try to ask for more money because it's been sitting there too long. And your shipper, this is you, the dispatcher talking to the broker. And I'm sure your shipper is asking you why you can't get rid of my load, probably because you're not trying to pay that much to the truck. So you can use that as negotiation. So the longer a load is posted on the load board, the more negotiating power you dispatchers have against the broker. Okay. I just want you to understand why that is, because it's been sitting there too long. It has to move. That's how the brokers make their money. The load has to move. So maximum loads per trip. How many legs? This is where we answer the leg. How many legs do we have? 3 legs, 4 legs? How many? Well, the standard is 4. We'll just go with 4, like we did Wednesday. Okay. Um, the radius limit. In other words, the deadhead. So between each leg, well, from the origin to the first leg, second leg, so on and so forth. We can say 100, we can say up to 100 miles, we can say 50 miles, we can say 75 miles. You can decide what you want to do. I'll put 100 just to keep it there. And then the load mileage range. So, the drivers do in 4 legs, that's about a week's run. So we do anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week. So we'll kind of meet that in the middle again, like we did before, like 2,700 or 2,750 or something like that. All right. So are we all in agreement with these settings right here, or do we need to make any change? Okay. And we want to review the result set at a leg view. You can look at it as a trip view too, but that's going to change the layout. So, all right. And then we're going to find the trips. So let's do that. It's thinking. And now, so here we go. Like you guys recognize this like we did before, right? The first leg, there's 52 loads on the first leg. Remember, we got 4 legs. 52 loads on the first leg. Coming out of Detroit and going wherever. Now you got these profit, how much you're going to make per day, what is paying for that particular one. Detroit going down to Georgia on the 17th, which is Monday. It's a truckload. It's 48 feet in length. We have a 53-foot trailer, so we have an extra 5 feet of space. We got more than enough space to put the freight on. 738 miles. It's a 14-hour, 29-minute drive time. I'm just looking at the first load. Is there a way to make it bigger? Let me make it bigger. Yes, there is. How about that? Is that better?
Yes, it's better. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just looking at the first one to read the column so you can get it right. The company is the broker. The company column, that's the broker or direct shipper. The age, remember how important that was? How long that load's been posted. It's been posted more than 8 hours, which gives you, the dispatcher, some leverage. It's been sitting up there too long. It's kind of unusual for a load to be sitting up there too long, right? And then on the next leg 2, there's 21. If you take this one, if you add it, you're going to have 21 loads on the second leg to worry about, or to as an option, I should say. So now the question becomes, which one should we decide? We got the 1,700. So sometimes it's not all about the money. It's more about the profit, or it's more about the next leg, how many loads you can get available. So you got different variables before you decide which lane in that first leg to take. Hopefully I said that correctly. So you got 93 loads in this one. This one right here, 93 loads, 48 loads. So what do you guys think right here so far? This one picks up on the 17th. It's going down from Detroit to Carolina, 600 miles, 1,200, 486 profit. That first one is big, 1,700, and you got 21 loads. That's not bad. So what do you guys, who wants to attack this one?
This one's perfect.
The first one?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody good with that? It's paying the most.
Yeah, I agree as well. That first one looked kind of good.
Okay, so 1,700, you're gonna profit per day 638, 1,700. Detroit going down to Georgia. All right, so let's select that one. Let's add it. Okay. Keep it to flat and then save to the planner. All right, so it's in there. That's the first. So now it has 21 loads for the second leg. But let's review the first leg. So from Detroit, you picked up in Detroit, so there's no deadhead, it's 0. So you didn't have to pay for fuel there. There's nothing there because it's in the same city. So your green arrow is the drive from pickup at the shipper to delivery at the receiver. So from Detroit to Dakula, Georgia, or Dakula, Georgia, 738 miles. That's going to cost $424 in fuel, but it's paying 1,700, right? So over here in the trip summary, profit per day, total revenue, total miles, and then there we go. Okay. So far, no deadhead miles right now because it picked up in the same city that you were in, that you were based out of. So that's the first one. We everybody's good on that, on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's look at our loads for our second leg, which is 21. So let's scroll down here and check them out. 2, 9, 4, 12, 17.
That second one, Atlanta, Georgia to what is it, Vernell?
The second one?
Yeah, that look like good because it's low deadhead miles, and then it has the lows available on the next leg is kind of low, but it look like all of them are kind of low. But the deadhead, and then I'm looking at the profit for day. It's not a bit different from what your revenue is. So I think that'll be a good load.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, the second one is good. You got 9 loads there.
Okay. There's one at 12 loads right here, 12 loads.
Oh yeah, that's a good one as well. Uh,
Then
yeah,
7,
because you're not going that many miles.
Yeah.
Profit is still good. Yeah, and it has more lows.
and then 17 loads.
Yeah, it's like getting paid $3 per mile almost.
Yeah, it's either I say either out of the first two that you just mentioned.
Okay, so of the two, the 9 loads or the 12 loads, Sureway and Shipping Connections. Which one do you guys think? The Sureway or the Shipping Connections? 511 profit, five, and they're both still in Georgia. They're not moving too much, right?
Hmm.
So which one do you guys want? The first one with the 9 loads on the next leg, or the next one with the 12 loads on the next leg?
12 loads.
We can do the 12.
Oh,
Yeah.
so let's do that one. Okay, so now from you delivered at the shipper on the first leg in Dakula, Georgia. You're deadheading 44 miles to Shady Dale, Georgia, which is $29 in fuel. Right? You see that? That's your next deadhead to the next pickup location for your second leg, right? Which is in Shady Dale, Georgia. And then you're going to pick up in Shady Dale and you're going to deliver in LaGrange, Georgia. So you're going to drive 121 miles from Shady Dale to LaGrange, which is $71 in fuel. And you're going to make a profit of, your revenue is going to be 511. So that's 2 legs out the way. So if you go now to the trip summary, your profit per day is now it's averaging itself out the more days you go. So now it's 563 per day. You've done 2 days. You've got so far in revenue $2,200. You went 903 miles total, and you've only done 44 miles deadhead so far, right? Which is right here from the
Yeah, but those lows not looking too good on this one.
on the third leg. There's 12 on
Yeah,
the third leg.
but look
Oh,
for like the next leg is like very lows,
Here's one.
0, and it's
Here's one
only
that has
4 in
4.
one.
There's 4 right there. So let's say you didn't
Okay.
like this one. Let's say you didn't like this one.
but it's that one right there with the 4 loads gonna pay for some fuel to get more loads,
Potentially.
right?
But let's say you
But
didn't
is it going out of Georgia though? Like that one look like it's still in Georgia.
right. So let's say you didn't like this one. The beauty of it, you can remove it. You can remove the leg. You can remove this leg out of here, right?
Ah,
Yeah, you can remove it. You can delete it.
Okay.
It's not doing it for me right now, but you can delete it. Okay, so let's the third leg, which is 12 loads. The only one that looks promising is the one with 4 loads on the next leg, which is what is that? It's still you're still in Georgia, so you're just not
Right.
around Georgia. So it's okay. So let's take that one. What's that? McDonough to Marietta. Okay, so you went from LaGrange, your receiver on the second leg, and you dead hit it 58 miles to McDonough, which is $38 in fuel, and you picked up at a shipper in McDonough, and you transported to a receiver in Marietta, only 56 miles, which is $350. Not bad, $27 in fuel. So now on your third leg, you are at now 2,500, and you did 1,000 miles, 102 in deadhead miles, and you're averaging $493 a day, almost 500 a day. So now your fourth leg. This is only a 4 leg, 4 loads on the fourth leg. Here they are, and there's no other loads in the next leg because there is no other leg. There is no fifth leg. That's why they're all saying zero,
Right.
because there is no fifth leg. So this is the last leg, essentially, right? The fourth leg. So we just got to choose I guess, the more profitable one, the one that makes sense. We're going. The question is, do you want to send your guy into Florida and be stuck, or do you want to go to an area where you can get something out of like Virginia or stay in Georgia? But look at the rates and the profit margin. So now you got to, as a dispatcher, you got to consider that. Where are you in? Where's your driver ending up in Florida? You see, well, Ocala is not that deep in Florida. That's like Central Florida, like Tampa and Orlando area. But still, for a flatbed going into Florida, it's going to be a challenge coming out. But let's just choose that just to see the profit margin, right? Or we can choose. Well, it's up to you guys. This ain't that. This second one is not that far from. I mean, as far as the numbers, the profit, it's only like $150.
Yeah, just based off what you're saying, I would definitely choose the second one.
Yeah, because it's you're not far off from the revenue. It's only $150 difference, and
Right.
you're going back north to an area you can get some freight out of what's that, Lyndhurst, Virginia. So let's choose that one. So, and then there's no loads on the fifth leg because there is no fifth leg. We only had a 4 leg trip, right? So you averaged 451. Your total revenue was 36. Your total miles was 16. And you only did 186 dead here, so that's not bad. So now let's go.
That's not bad at all, because sometimes you can do 300 miles there just for just one load.
Right. So now go to the My Planner, and here is your results. Your weekly forecast is showing that from March to those 4 days, from the 17th to the 21st, the A to B, B to C, or A to B, C to D, E to F, G to H. But if you go down here, here are the numbers as well. But here's your real numbers. You grossed 3661, but you paid out in fuel 836, no tolls, which is great. But after fuel does get covered, you're only bringing home, you're netting 28.25 to the flatbed carrier for 4 loads over 5 days, right? Now, you, the dispatcher, your percentage, you're charging your percentage on the gross, the 36. You're not doing it on the net. Always on the gross revenue, not the net. Okay. Just so you guys know, right?
Yeah.
So that's how that goes. Okay. You guys starting to get that exercise?
Yes.
So will one more be okay? We did dry van Wednesday, flatbed now. I guess the reefer.
Yeah, can we do reefer with hazmat?
Reefer with hazmat. So with this, I don't think you can unless the load, you wouldn't know that unless the load or the broker specifically said in their posting that it's a hazmat load. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
if you
I
got
know.
if you got a refrigerated carrier who has a hazmat certification, well, how is that even possible? You can carry. Oh, I guess you can carry hazmat.
Yeah, I have the license.
Yeah, hazmat, and you run reefers.
I used to run reefers and hazmat.
So you ran a hazmatic reefer load.
Yes.
What was the commodity?
Uh, um, I
Yeah.
don't know, like two,
You
still
don't remember?
two
You don't
dollars.
remember what was in your trailer?
It's still like $2, 60, $2.70. You know what I mean?
No. That's the
Per
cents.
mile.
That's the cents per mile. I was asking you, what did you haul? What was the freight? What was in your trailer? What did you haul? That was a hazmatic load. What was the commodity?
Or like batteries,
Okay, so it had to stay.
liquors, um, paint.
Stay at a certain temperature
Yeah,
and to be within the hazmatic cat. So it was over 1,000 pounds, obviously, to be hazmatic qualified. And then,
I got confused with the word commodities.
yeah, commodity is what the freight is, like freight,
What
commodity.
the thing is.
Yeah, what are the goods? Commodity, or what the ship
Mm-hmm.
what's the shipment? What are you actually transporting? Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to add truck and let's do reefer. And standard 6 gallons, six, not 60, but six. And then uh, we'll just call it CJ Reefer. Just for, okay. And but before we do that, let's go back to trend lines. Let's go to trend lines and let's go to the directional thing for reefers. But with trend lines, we want to see. So let's say if you're brand new dispatcher and you got a reefer carrier that wants you to be their dispatcher, you want to see where the rates, how good are the rates in what areas of the country for the reefer. So we're going to do the trend lines, the analytics first to see what's paying what out of what area. And it looks to be in the Midwest and in the Southwest are paying the most cents per mile. So 258 and 238. Those are the two highest. You guys see that?
Yes,
Okay, so that pretty much tells you where you want to send your guys to and from in areas,
that 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 is why I want to move to Texas. That
right?
way I can just run that line right there, straight down.
Right. So now you go to um here and we'll do our market rates and do our comparable reefer for a north to south, south to north, and east to west, west to east, so we can know literally which way to send what literally at what it's paying. So let's start again. Detroit on the north going southbound, and let's say Jacksonville. So going north from a north shipping lane southbound is paying 28. If you flip that south going northbound, it's 17. So it's more profitable going north southbound for the reefer in that direction, correct? As we see
Yeah.
the analytics, right? So now let's go east westbound. So let's go New York and LA. Just these are extreme examples. These are the far extreme. New York is on the far end of the East Coast. Los Angeles is on the far end of the West Coast, right? That's why we're doing it. So any cities in between, it'll give you what you need. But so east westbound is 3,900 for a reefer. I think west coming out of the west going eastbound is probably more, and there's 56. So now you want to see. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna test that theory. You get a lot more money coming out of. So I'm gonna say, well, our guys coming out of Los Angeles. Let's go out of Los Angeles and let's go moving towards the eastbound area to East Coast. So let's go back and choose our uh load planner and see if I don't think it saved our reefer. Yeah, it did. CJ Reefer right there. We haven't decided it yet. So CJ Reefer. So now our carrier is in Los Angeles, Reefer, right? Because we discovered based off of analytics that, did I spell that right? Angeles, California. And they're picking up, let's say on Monday, let's start fresh on Monday, 0800, let's say 0600 in California. So we'll say anywhere, but we're going to change the states to eastbound states, right? Because we know from the analytics that it's paying more going eastbound. So we'll just choose the eastern seaboard. We'll say Pennsylvania, New York. We'll say Jersey, Virginia. Just go up and down the eastern seaboard, right? And maybe even over here, like the northeast, east. Because it's going to pay more coming from the west going into the northeast because freight still got to get there. It's just who's willing to do it, basically, right? Did I choose Delaware? No, I didn't. There it is, Delaware. All right. So is that enough East Coast? Even Florida, I guess we can play with Florida because reefer freight goes into Florida like citrus and produce and beverages and things like that. So is that okay as far as the eastern side of the country coming out of Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go to this image here or this section here. Maximum length is a 53-foot reefer. Maximum weight of the reefers are 44,000 pounds because you have to account for the weight of the TCU, temperature control unit, right? Maximum posting, we'll say any. We know why any, right? Because it gives you the advantage of longer posted loads. You can negotiate more money. We're going to keep it 4 trips, keep the deadhead at 100, like we always do standard, and we're going to change our miles again to the standard, or the middle standard of the, between 2,500 and 3,000 a week. So we're going to say 2,750, kind of in between. Okay. So you guys are kind of catching on how to navigate this now, right? Or how to work this. And then we're going to hit find trips. Okay. So on our first leg, we got 41 loads. And here they are. Okay.
One question, Charles.
Yes.
The 46 to 48,000 pound is just for reefer or just for flatbed or just for all type of trailer?
No, that's just flatbed.
That's just flatbed.
So here, if you go to the back office, you have access to the back office, right? You're a student or a guest?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go to the back office under getting carriers, module 1, and the 3 major equipment types, it gives the stats for each one. So the dry van stat, the trailer, the gross vehicle weight rating, GVWR, is 80,000 pounds. That's the tractor and the trailer together. A loaded trailer plus the tractor, the gross weight that it cannot exceed is 80,000 pounds. The trailer weight is between 42 and 45,000 for the dry van trailer, right there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Reefer, say the gross vehicle weight is the same because it's the same combination vehicle, but the trailer weight is only up to 44,000 because again, it has to account for the TCU, the temperature control unit, right? That unit, because that's a heavy component. It has a motor, it has things you got to, an engine. It has components in it that needs to be ran in order to keep whatever's being transported cooled or
plus the fuel tank.
Plus the fuel, exactly. So it has a weight to it. And then finally, of the 3 major equipment types, the 48 or 53-foot flatbed. The gross vehicle weight is always the same, but the trailer weight, because it's a 48 or 53-foot. So if it's a 48 trailer, it's going to get up to about 46,000. If it's a 53-foot trailer, then it gets 48,000, that extra 2,000 pounds. So
yeah, I get it.
You get it now?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, good.
We can go back.
All right. So first leg. Now we got a pattern here going on, but you get the point here though, these profit margins and all this other stuff. you guys are more concerned. It seems you more, which is a good assumption. You guys are seeming more concerned the number of loads on your next leg to give you a better choice of finding some more money for your guy, right? So we got 41 loads, but you got 11 loads, 11, 11, 10. Let's see if there's anything more down here to 41, 10, and then everything's 2 or 0, and then another 10. Uh, and that's it. So I'm going to go back up to 8, 400, 10, 700. Ooh, this one's going to be, well, not necessarily. It's going to be all right. So let's go back up. 850, 600. So what do you guys think on this one? This one's going to be kind of, and this is just the first leg. How you guys, where you guys going? Are you staying in California, which is all these destinations, or are you going to leave out of California maybe and go somewhere else? Well, no, all of them are staying in California. They're not leaving out of California yet. Look at these. All the destinations are California, California, California. Interesting. So now you think, okay, well, we're staying in California, but let's see what our profit margin is. What do you think? Who wants to take a stab at this one?
Yeah, that third one.
The third one? Okay.
Yeah.
So Pasadena to Ontario. 600. Okay. Shram sucks, by the way, but I take that back. This is a recording. So but let's take that and then go here. Okay, so now we got $600 on our total revenue, 500 for the profit. Because you drove 12 miles from Los Angeles to Pasadena, not that far. You burnt $8 in fuel, diesel fuel. And then you drove from Pasadena to Ontario, which is just a 36-mile trek. And you did $19 in fuel. You made $600 for that. So 36 miles at 36 miles for $600. That's a nice cents per mile, but it's not a high revenue number, right? So it looks good. It looks good as it relates to cents per mile, but it's not a high dollar value, you see. But anyway, we got now on our second leg, we have 11 loads. Okay? 11 loads. So let's look at those. Most of them are zeros. And the only other option is the 8 loads. Everything else is 0. Right? So what do you think?
I think we should have chose another area altogether.
Well, in this case, we don't have a choice. The only one is this one. So we choose that. And look at that. Man. And they're staying in California. I thought we got loads. I thought we were coming out of California going towards the East Coast. I don't get it. Did I
It's
not?
not you need to get out of California.
Did I not choose? Let's go back to the search details. Los Angeles going anywhere. Oh, shoot. I didn't save the profile. Okay, Charles, you idiot. Let me save it. There we go. And save the profile. Now, let's do the find trips again. And let's go back. Let me edit, do search details. Search results. Okay, so this one, we probably passed the point of no return, but that's okay. Because it's supposed to take us out of California at some point. It should have done it on the second leg. But we got 0 loads on these legs, so we're not going to have another load on the fourth leg in this example. So if that being said, I would just take the higher value one. Well, 974 is going to Tracy, California. Tracy, California. It looks to be the same. Shram. Sometimes, like, that's the one thing I don't like about Shram Logistics, that brokerage. They post on the same load board multiple times the same load, like this one here. and by different broker agents. Like this one, 306 profit, 974 what it's paying, Ontario to Tracy by Schramm. Then it does it again. 204, another broker agent for the same brokerage posted it, and they gave a $204 profit, the same load, Ontario to Tracy, Schramm. And then once again, it did it, 974 and then 153 by the same broker. You see? So, which is weird. So I'm just going to take the more profitable one and just add it and see what happens. And that's it. So, right? So I'm going to experiment with this one. I'm going to add a truck, add a reefer, call it CJ2 reefer or something like that, and then go back in and try any as opposed to, I'm going to call it reefer CJ. Just go backwards. Okay. And trip details. So now we got trips coming out, got things going out of Texas and all this other stuff. Search details is the same thing. It's saying anywhere now, all over the United States. See, I said anywhere all over the United States. Let's just make our way towards the East Coast, right? If we leave everything highlighted, when we go to our search results, it's showing all these legs, 75 loads for all the legs, but it's going all over the place, right? So if we leave the search details all shaded in, it'll give us, everything else is the same. It'll give us this result set here. So we got 75 loads on the first leg. We still got 4 legs to do, right? So now, look at this now. That first one, Los Angeles to Houston, Texas. We're going to Texas. $4,000. But it's 5 loads coming out of Texas. But where are they going? Then we got one, 4,300 going over to Minnesota, which is in the Midwest. This is what is this? It's a reefer. Okay, yeah, we got a reefer load. So Houston. And then these 75 loads. Look at all these different numbers. Where are they going?
What about the one with 9 loads?
The one with 9 loads, right here.
Yeah.
That's still in California. I don't want to stay on the first leg. I want to. So with this example, I think you guys may agree with me. Let's get out of California, starting with the first leg.
Okay.
To give us a chance to maximize our profit margin for the carrier, right? So if we run our first leg and we're still in California, let's just paying well, but like California to California at $1,000, that's not bad. But if I'm going over to Houston, from Los Angeles to Houston for 4,300, almost 4,400, that's great, right? Although there's only 5 loads coming on the next leg, still get, and in the Minnesota one at 4,300, there's
Wait, how many days gonna take you to get to Houston?
So it's 26 hours. It's 1,525 miles. How many days if you're a carrier, how many days you can do about 650 to 700 miles in a day.
Actually, it's not that. It's when can you deliver it?
Right.
When does the delivery date?
That's a great question. So that would be asked to the broker. When you book this load, it picks up. So those are the type of details you're going to get from the broker before you decide to take the load, right? You'll say,
yeah, because you could end up with that load for like 3 days,
right?
Or 4 days.
I'll say 3 days at most, 2.5 to 3 days, because you got to factor in your hours of service. You're driving 650 to 700 miles a day. That's 2 days. That'll be 13 to 1,400 miles in 2 days. So you pretty much almost got it done. So the other third day or half a day. So you figure 3 full days. If you include your hours of service, you should be able to do 1,525 miles. So Monday to Wednesday, and you open this up. Here's the load right here. So now you open it up. You want to get the details of the load. 288 a mile. It's only one. It's just a straight through. So it's one load and no extra stops. See what it says right there? quantity and stops. So one load, no stops. So it picks up. We got to get from the broker what time it picks up, so we'll know. Here's the broker's credit. Here's their MC and all this other stuff. You would have to talk to BBI Logistics, talk to Matt Souder at that number, reference this load number. The load is 53 feet, it's 35,000 pounds. Okay, that's great. It's within the weight. So like the gentleman just said, he would have to know what time it picks up. But 3 days is more than enough time to do it. If you include your hours of service as a carrier or your carrier's hours of service, plus if they're doing anywhere between 650 to 700 miles a day, which they can, because you figure even if your engine is calibrated to only do 65 miles an hour, you can drive up to 11 hours a day, right? Out of the 14 hours. 14 hours drive time, but 11 of which you can be driving. 14 hours of, I'm sorry, on duty time, and then 11 of which you could be driving. That's the hours of service law, right? So you figure 11 hours of driving times what, 65 miles an hour, that's over 650 miles, close to 700 miles a day. So you're doing 3 days, you're going to cover that 1,525 miles, or your carrier is. I'm speaking like it's you guys driving, but it's your carrier. I'm sorry. So.
Yeah, that's crazy though. From 4,000 and you only gross 1,000 something.
Right, because you got to figure you're paying for that fuel, number one. That fuel. So once we click this, look at the fuel. You got $924 in fuel, right? Going to Houston. And then that is crazy. Why you only your revenue is only.
Can we look at that second load?
I think you
Up
can
under
ask the broker for more money.
You always got to ask the broker for more money. That goes without saying, right? You definitely if you are a dispatcher and you never ever ask the broker for more money, you're not maximizing your duty as a dispatcher. You always try to squeeze more money out of the broker. Always, always, always. You said the second one right here, the Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. The only thing I wouldn't send a reefer. Well, I guess I could up to Washington State. You know how far up? That's like north. That's like the Pacific Northwest. So
Okay.
you can get like apples out of Washington and stuff like that. But it's cool. It's a good cents per mile, $3.06 a mile. It's paying less total revenue to dollar value, 36 as opposed to 43. Um, and you're spending less fuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
625. Well, you got to add the other 47, the deadhead, but still, you know. But you see all of the variables, the potential variables as a dispatcher now that you have to add to your dispatching duty
Mm-hmm.
here. Things you
Yeah.
have to things you have to consider when you're route planning for your guy or your girl, depending on the gender of your carrier. Um, these are the things you have to consider, right? And a lot of dispatchers, what we're going over now, a lot of dispatchers don't even think about this, don't even conceive it. They'll just try to find a load on a load board going in a certain direction, not even considering if that direction is more profitable than the other direction, and whether or not the equipment type is profitable going that way. They don't consider things like that. But it's those little things that you overlook that can cost your carrier's bottom line in the long run. You gotta be mindful of that stuff, right? But so that's the second one. So what's the other one? The 9 lows. We got 1,000. I like these big numbers here, but it depends on where it's going, you know. So what do you guys think? Here's one with 28 lows. Two of them with 28 lows, but they're low, $600. Ugh.
And then they're still saying in
And they're still saying in
California as well.
right? Yeah, we wanted to emphasize the point of getting out our first leg. Let's get out of California on our first leg. That way, it gives us a good head start and profiting for our carrier.
So it'd be better to go with that first one.
Yeah, first one or the second one, but yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? What are some other considerations? It's it's a head scratcher, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's good that you're seeing this though, because now you can understand what's going on. You see?
Yeah, I'm gonna let someone else decide on this one, but I definitely will. It'll be out of the first two. Um,
I can't really help y'all right now.
Well, no, don't.
Hold on.
So the
Wait,
numbers
so
the
who got
numbers
the
look
less mileage?
the numbers look enticing. Of the first two, the less what? The less drive miles or the less deadhead? What do you?
Drive
I
miles.
guess like the
The second one
yeah,
does. It's only 1,185 as opposed to 1,525.
but
Yeah,
he
we're
said
going with the
something
second
about
one.
the area that it was going
Right. So
was pretty
it's
good.
going up to the Pacific Northwest, the Washington State, which is for a reefer. That's okay. You can find refrigerated freight coming out of Washington State. Washington State produces the apples, right? Apples is one of the biggest commodities up there,
Well,
right?
I definitely go with the second one then.
And
Um,
you can get onions out of there over that way, some other refrigerated goods. So that's another thing too. You would have to know and understand where commodities are positioned at, so you'll know where to send your. So there's a lot of things you got to know. You might want to write down stuff now at this point.
And with the
right.
with the with the reefer, you have just because you have a reefer, it doesn't have to be a reefer product.
That's
You can
correct.
always pick up a dry product.
That's correct. That's a great point he makes, and that's the advantage of having a reefer trailer. You can cut off the unit and run it as a dry box.
Hmm.
That's as a dry van. So you can. So now you got two equipment types in one equipment type. A reefer can serve as a refrigerated equipment type as well as a dry van equipment type once you turn the reefer unit off.
So in a search, we have to put a reefer slash drive-in or van when we're searching for a load.
That's correct. You are in the search, but we're doing the load planner feature doesn't let you select multiple equipment types. It only let,
Oh,
yeah, it
okay.
only lets, now the search, the find loads feature where you're finding the loads, you can select multiple equipment types. You can say van and reefer and then go from there. But yes,
Right.
that is true. That is correct. You are correct. So, but man, so it looks like we're stuck on these top two right here. We're kind of torn in between these.
Yeah.
Well, we have to take the second one because it's less driving, less hour, and
Okay.
it's about the same amount of money with the first one. So
All right.
Mm,
All right. Second one it is. Let's scroll down. We got the other ones got like 28 loads, but they're like $600. Who wanted, and it's still in California. So, and we said on our first leg, we're trying to get out of California so we can venture off and see what's going on. Yeah, those 28 loads, they're all in California. 26 loads, they're still in California. So our theory was as a dispatcher, we want to get out of the state of California and then start moving. Which one has a better backhaul? That's a great question, Jennifer, between the two. I would say Houston between the two, but not necessarily for the reefer. You can find some reefer backhaul out of Washington State, onions, apples, cold commodities, but Houston has more potential reloads or backhauls than Washington State would. But the fact that it's a reefer unit, it's okay that you're in Washington State because you can also use it as a dry box, a dry van. So I'm talking like a trucker. I keep saying dry box, but a dry van trailer. I'm saying for those who
right.
understand what dry box mean. Okay. So let's choose the second one. And all right. So we done lost already. Ugh. You know why I say that?
Nah.
You know why I say that, right?
Oh man.
The next leg, zero loads. So we went up to Washington State and we got stuck. And game over. Insert coin.
Delete.
Delete. But so
that's crazy.
that's crazy. And so now, but I would get out of Washington State for 3,100 and go over to Iowa to get further away from the West Coast because I don't want to go to Wyoming, Utah, or Oregon. So to help win this game a little bit, I would go ahead and choose that one, that 3,100 one, and there it is. So So for those days, he still grossed 6,700, which ain't bad. But man, we chose the wrong area. We went north, Pacific Northwest, as opposed. What if we would have went to Houston? How many other lows we could have potentially? It was only 5 lows on the next leg, so who knows what they would have been, right? But
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. The point is the exercise itself, understanding the exercise, right? So, and right here, so he grossed, and you can see it on the map. He went A to B, B to C, and then C all the way over to D to Iowa, right? So, um, grossed 6736, but he netted 4,900, almost 5,000 because of fuel, 1,800 in fuel. You figured as much because you're coming all the way from from the West Coast, and you're coming to the Midwest. So that's a lot of fuel you're utilizing. Fuel is crazy.
But
So
he still do good though.
they still did good, yeah.
Yeah.
For those two, and he only did 2 legs, 2 shipments, right? He did
Yeah.
California up to Washington, and then he picked up in Burlington, Washington, and went over to Iowa. That's 2 loads. It's probably still took him about a week because this first one probably took about 2 or 3 days, and this other one took about 3 days. So that's 5, 6 days, maybe 7 days if you a full week, 7 days if you count his hours of service and his his drive time and reset hours and stuff like that. So in a week's time, 4,900 for the reefer, grossing 6,700. It's not good, but it's not bad, you know. And it got you out of the West Coast back over to the Midwest. So when you reset your clock, you're in Clinton, Iowa. So now you can probably do something there, you see. But that's the exercise, right? But yeah, to go to your point, the gentleman was saying about the loads, where you can do a search, and when you select the trailer type, you can select multiple like reefer and van, and you can select multiple trailer types when you do load searches. So let's say Norfolk, anywhere 100-mile radius, pick up any date, and we said a reefer and a van, and we hit apply. So now we got 2 options, and then our filters. Uh,
Put hazmat and tanker. Ooh,
oh yeah, let's do that too.
going after the money.
Let's do that.
If you get an owner operator with that
Tanker.
have hazmat and tanker on the reefer,
Yeah, tanker right there. Tanker, I don't see the hazmatic as an option, but tanker implies that there has to be some kind of hazmatic certification on it.
right?
So, uh, yep. Okay. And then you hit apply. And the filters, it'll be any size. Uh, the length is fine. The weight is fine. Okay. And then you hit search. And then we get these results set. Over here, I'm going to put it in order from posted rate, highest posted rate down to the lowest posted rate. So now here we go. And you got 2 columns. You got the rate column and then the rate check column, as far as the money is concerned. The rate column is what the broker, in this case Ryder, pays to the truck. The rate check is what the market pays on average for this particular, or any lane for that matter. But this particular lane here, $5,036, going from the Greenville market in North Carolina to the Anaheim, California market, pays on average $5,000. The broker is paying well below that average. So would you take that load?
Nope.
Oh, there you go. That's how you can determine right there. If you got a load that the market is giving you this amount and the broker's paying well below that, why would you take that? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh.
So now you can kind of tell with this. So with this feature 1, 2, 3 load board, you're able to do that. You see, And you can set up other filters. You can view it. But yeah, these are good. This is how you look at that as well. $3.37 a mile. Uh, so yeah. All right, guys.
You
Great.
can still you can still call the broker and negotiate and see if they're gonna pay the rate check.
You can,
Like
but
the
I don't think that's too high of a number to climb up to back to $5,000. That's $1,600. There's no broker is going to add or take away $1,600 from their profit margin just to meet a the rate of the market and give that 1,600 because it's coming out of their pocket now. They're not going to give up $1,600 because 1,600 plus 34 is 5,000. So they're going to say, I'm not going to give you, I'll give you the at the most maybe 500. I may say I'll give it to you for 4,000, but that's probably the highest they'll go. But they're not going to go that high to get to the market rate. And they know what the market is. They know what the market. They see the same tools we do, or the
yeah
carrier. They know it. Shippers know it. Brokers know it. Dispatchers know it because dispatchers are looking at the carriers' load boards because that's who they're working with. But yeah, they know it. There's no way they don't. So let's hit the filter one and see all truckloads. Let's see if there's a hazmatic category here. Trailer, bidding, post rate, team drivers, posted rate. Okay, days to pay. Oh, these are just the features that the posting that. Okay, well, anyway, view list, sort by. Okay, everything else is standard. All right, so yeah. So these are some. So once you recognize how what the tools are, you'll be able to better utilize them to your advantage or to the advantage of your carrier from your perspective, the dispatcher. You know, yep, the truck drivers must put their foot down, or the truck drivers dispatchers must put their foot down to um, make sure that the drivers are maximizing their profit, their bottom line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? So, but this is 123 load board. This is how it's used, the features of it, and we haven't even used all of the features, but just so you know, next time we'll go into Trip Builder and create a new trip, and you can create a trip load by load or the entire. Let's do the entire trip, right? Shiante, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I don't know if anybody asked this yet, but would how do I want to ask this? Would it be preferably to do a to dispatch like for a whole week versus daily? Like what pros and what challenges or pros or cons would that conclude?
If you try to plan out a route for a week, you run the risk of brokers canceling loads midway. So let's say you book 4 loads, your third leg or your third load may get canceled by the broker or that particular broker on that, and go from there. You have to scramble,
Okay.
try to you know, get a replacement load for them, and you may not.
Okay.
So that's the danger. That's the risk. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. But that's a good question, though. That's a great question. Any other questions?
Yes, I actually had 2 questions.
Okay.
I wanted to know how long is the process of onboarding with a broker? Like once you find your carrier and let's say that it's a new broker and your carrier has a factoring company, but your carrier is looking for a load next day. How long does that process usually take to onboard with a new broker? Is that like 24 hours or a couple of days?
No. Same day. 30 minutes or less.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm opening up the whiteboard. Whether they're new or not, And whether they have factoring or not, your carrier has factoring or not, depends on if they accept the brokers based off
Mm-hmm.
check and everything like that, notice of assignment. But yeah, you trying to onboard it with a broker next day, it will be suicidal for a carrier because you're trying to book that load like right now. So you can't wait to
Right.
get that load book. So the process to onboard with a broker, the broker's going to need the so you call a broker on the load, you saw on the load board, right? Broker's
Mm-hmm.
going to ask you for the MC of your carrier, right? Everybody see the whiteboard I'm writing on? You guys, is the whiteboard
Yes.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is the average factoring company's fee? Factoring companies charge anywhere between 1.5% to about 5% for their fee to factor invoices or factor loads. That's what factoring companies charge. Between 1.5%, depending on the credit of the rating of the carrier or the broker, because factoring companies' clients are either carriers or brokers. Okay. So that's what factoring companies do. But any rate, so to onboard a carrier from a broker's perspective, the broker needs, well, let me erase this. Let me erase this. The first thing the broker sends, if after having a good conversation with you, the dispatcher who's representing your carrier, they're going to send you the contract, right? The broker contract between them and the carrier. That is called the broker. I should have asked you the broker carrier agreement, right? That's what that's called, the broker carrier agreement. It also has other names. There's the technical name is called the broker carrier agreement, and we have an example of what one looks like in our portal under our documents, under our forms and documents, right? But it's called the broker carrier agreement. It's also called the carrier packet. You may hear different terms, so I'm using the all the terms you usually will hear. Setup packet. And lastly, there are others, but these are the more common ones. Onboarding packet, because the broker wants to onboard the carrier to their brokerage, get them under their brokerage to run loads for them so that they get paid by their customers. So this is the contract. So when they send you the contract, if you, the dispatcher, have a have your carrier set up with you for dispatch services, one of the documents that'll help you is that limited power of attorney. Remember that? Limited power of attorney, where the carrier gives you, the dispatcher, the power to represent them when you are onboarding them with brokers, right? You can sign and print their names on these documents, right? That's the purpose of the limited power of attorney. Remember that document, guys, that we talk about all the time?
Yes.
Okay. So, in addition to the contract that the broker sends, they want that filled out and returned, but they also want copies of the carrier's, your carrier, your truck driver's credentials, your truck driver's qualifying documents to make them what they are, truck drivers. What documents make a truck driver, an owner operator, a carrier? Well, the first one is their MC authority, right? Which is from the FMCSA that has the MC and DOT number, right? The next document is the what? The certificate of insurance, the COI. And remember, when you first got set up with your truck driver, your carrier, remember you had them send you copies of these documents so you can have them in your possession? Remember that? And the W-9 that shows their EIN number attached to their business for tax purposes, right? So when you return to the broker carrier agreement or the contract or the setup packet, you're going to also return copies of these documents, these credentials, your carriers could, so that the broker can vet your carrier and qualify. These are the qualifying documents. That's why they're called that, because it qualifies your driver to run under that brokerage. Okay. Now there are some optional documents, two of them assuming if your carrier works with a factoring company. What are those? The first one is the carrier's factoring company's credit application. This is a blank form that they can get from their factoring company because you or your carrier is going to send that to the broker. Brokers know what to do with that credit application once they receive it. They're going to fill it out, and the broker, are going to return it to the factoring company. Because on the credit application, somewhere in the bottom or the top, it's going to have the email or the fax number to the factoring company where the broker sends to. Once you, the dispatcher, sends the credit application to the broker, you're out of that part of the equation. You don't have to do anything else because the broker knows what to do after that. They know what to do. So then, because the purpose of the credit application from the carrier's factoring company's perspective is to run a credit check on the broker. That's why the factoring company is doing that, because they want to make sure that the broker pays their bills on time, that they are favorable for factoring. There's no issues. There's no claims filed against them. They don't have to worry about chasing them for money. They want to make sure that they are favorable for a line of credit so they can be invoiced and pay the carrier. That's why they do a credit check on the broker. Okay. The second document is called the NOA, or the Notice of Assignment. This is the factoring company's way to the broker of identifying themselves. They're saying, hey, we're the factoring company. We have a contract with this carrier, our client. Every invoice that's payable by you, broker, to the carrier, our client, has now been assigned to us. So instead of paying the carrier, you're going to pay us because we've already paid the carrier a percentage of that revenue anyway that you had posted that load for. We gave them 90% of it up front, and we're going to go after you on the back end for the rest of the money because you qualified first with the credit application. You were eligible. Now we're going to show you the notice of assignment saying we're the ones who get the money because we've already paid the carrier up front of a percentage. How fast does this factoring application take? Minutes, no longer than 15 minutes. A factoring company receives the credit application from the broker, puts it into their system, look up some certain information, and it spits it out saying either they're approved or they're not approved. And they'll let their client know, which is in this case the carrier. Okay? It's that simple. So, but this is how carriers are onboarded with the brokers. So now once all of this is received by the broker and they put it into their system and spits out an approval of the carrier's been approved and now onboarded with the brokerage, they are an approved carrier now, right? So now the broker is going to send the carrier the second document. The first document was the broker carrier agreement to get them set up and approved. They got approved. The second document is the load or the rate confirmation for that particular load that they had got a call by you for their carrier about. So the load or rate confirmation. This is the contract between the broker and the carrier. Rate con or rate confirmation for short, right? It'll have the rate that you either negotiated or that was posted. It'll have the details of the load, where it's picking up, where it's delivering, any special instructions, all the details of the load. And you, as a dispatcher, you want to make sure that your carrier has as much detailed information about that load so that they'll be well informed of how to service that broker and deliver that load and get paid. So the two-step process of onboarding and booking the load is the broker carrier agreement first to get set up with the broker, and then the rate con to officially book the load. You, the dispatcher, if you have a limited power of attorney with your carrier that you are dispatching for, then you can fill out and sign and print the name of your carrier for both of those documents. That's the whole purpose of the limited power of attorney. So that you can do the work instead of you wasting time sending it to your carrier who may not have time at the time because he or she may be driving or at a receiver being loaded or unloaded, they can't do anything. If that's the case, then what's the point of having a dispatcher? Right? What's the point? Let you do all the and that's what you get paid for. You're doing all the administrative stuff, finding loads, doing the paperwork and all that stuff. Let them drive. Let them focus on driving. That's how you guys become a good team. You do your part, they do theirs. Right? Hopefully that answered your question. I think that was Resilient Dispatch that asked that question.
Yes, that was me. And I have another question. Should we wait until a truck is unloaded or empty before finding another load?
Um, you can, but there are other options. When I used to do it, I started off doing that because I wanted to be sure that the truck was empty. But then I got to the point where my driver got so good, he'd say, "Man, we booked this other load. Go ahead and find me another load coming out of the area that I'm going to deliver this load because I know for a fact, unless an act of God happens, I know for a fact I'm delivering this load." So my driver and I built that relationship to the point where once I booked the first load, I was on the load board or on the phones finding the next load coming out of
So
it.
pretty much just wait until you trust your carrier and you know that they are
Well,
going to
well,
follow through.
I'll say it like this: wait until your carrier trusts you to find another
Okay.
load. Right? Yeah, because you don't have to trust the carrier is the one moving the load, so they got to trust you to find the next load. You know, but even so, you can do it in stages though. They'll say, okay, this first load we just got together, we got under a dispatcher agreement, you and I. Let's say I'm the carrier, you're my dispatcher. So the first few times we'll say we'll wait till I'm empty. Let's find our other load. And I may be sitting at a truck stop doing my reset. We find another load, and I'm good to go. But then, as we build a relationship and do more loads, we'll say, okay, I'm at the delivery facility of the first load that you found for me. You can go ahead and start to find my next load. You don't have to wait till I'm empty because I'm already here. It's assumed that I'm going to get empty, right? So it's different scenarios now at that point where you and your carrier can have in that carrier dispatcher relationship, right? The safest way to start is yes, wait till your carrier says, yes, I'm empty. I'm getting ready to pull off this loading dock and go to a nearby truck stop to do my reset hours. See if you can find me something. That way you're safe because they're empty, they're gone, they got the paperwork, and you can look for their next load. All the other scenarios run the risk of something happening.
Okay, and that's usually going to be like for next day.
Or for whenever they may say, well, let me do my reset. I don't have any hours to pick up another load for the next day. Let me find me something 2 days from now because I can do my reset, my 10-hour reset. It depends on the time of day. It could be he could have delivered that load at 10 o'clock at night and then drove to a truck stop to do his 10-hour reset, which goes into the morning time. So he has to find another load maybe either later that afternoon, next day, or the following day after that to get
Okay, so that's just pretty much when communication comes in, just stay in contact and
exactly.
they'll let you know when they're ready. Okay.
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. So here we go. Yeah, this has been a good lesson though. We went over some good load planning, got some good information. Next lesson we'll probably go over trip building and see the difference between a load to load trip builder or an entire trip builder and what's the difference between the two. And let's look at the calendar here to see our next. Today is the 15th, that's Saturday. So our next one will be the 23rd, which is a Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see you guys there. I will have this recording in our portal later this afternoon, actually, or into the early evening because it's like 1:30 now. So, um, uh, and then I forgot to mention prayers up for LaDonna and her family. She's in the Midwest area, like Missouri. There's like a lot of wind storms over there, tornadoes, if you will. That's why she's not in class. She wasn't in class last night in the freight broker training and today because they're dealing with that severe weather out there. So, matter of fact, I watched the evening news the other night and I saw tractor trailers being blown on the side of the road. So that's how strong the winds are. If it's powerful enough to take a tractor and a trailer and blow it on its side, that's tornado type of weather. So let's just pray for everybody's safety over there. Those are loved ones and friends that we know. And yeah, okay.
Safety.
Yep, safety always. So okay. But until then, you guys enjoy your weekend, and I will see you on the 25th, I think it was. That or 23rd, I should say. I'm sorry. No, the 25th. Um, what is this? March 15th to the 23rd. Yeah, 23rd at 11 a.m. All right. Almost got the date wrong. My apologies.
All right. Thank you, Charles.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.